Hey guys, if you want more of my videos as soon as they come out, make sure you hit subscribe. Welcome to another GA Canine training video, folks, and today I have a special treat. We have what should have been a fairly easy two-turn trail for a young bloodhound that turned into an air scent problem of dynamic proportions. And we got into a situation that I don't get on video very often, but I'm glad I got it here today. And this is when we have a dog that chases blown odor away from source. It just almost doesn't make sense. It's almost an oxymoron. But certain conditions can occur when you're getting the proximity alert and you're very close to the subject where the odor just doesn't work the way you think it does, and the dog ends up chasing it 180 degrees in the opposite direction. And here's the thing, folks. This actually happens a lot. The problem is most of the time handlers don't even know it's happening. They don't understand, number one, that they got a proximity alert. They don't understand that they're close, and that they don't understand that the dog is chasing odor away from the subject versus working their way in. The dog begins to throw a good proximity alert, but as it closes on the ditch line and the thicker vegetation, the little bit of wind-blown odor it was getting seems to end, and it has to curl off of it and try to find the track again. At this point, our subject at the arrow at the top left of the screen is only 30 meters away. One of the things that's occurring here is the handler doesn't quite understand that he's close, that he's in proximity, and that the dog's throwing alerts. And he's circulating, allowing the dog to circulate, hoping to pick up odor, but not allowing the dog to go too far. This is creating line checks, and the dog has to come back. As the dog circles, it comes back and it picks the exact crossing point at the ditch line. And we can actually see the track line of the subject right here. This is that white marking that's going to a straight line to that down tree. But the big problem for the dog at this point is it's still working wind-blown odor. It's in proximity. It's an air scent. But our wind is going down the wood line from left to right and then curving back around. This is where the alert began on the other side of the ditch line. So why does the dog ignore the track line when it's so clearly, probably olfactory visible to it at this particular situation, when it was following the track so well before? What happened? Well, air scent trumps track. And what the dog is desperately trying to do right now is find the scent cone. The problem is no scent cone exists here. It just doesn't happen. Wind is coming from left to right. When it gets to the end of the wood line on the far right, it curves back around. So we have this swirling wind condition. And the dog just does not want to leave that air scent. Why don't they want to leave the air scent? Because it means that the person is close. Why take an older scent trail when they have fresh scent right in front of them? That's why the dog is working this so desperately at this point. The only solution, the only way to fix this is if the dog learns to figure out how to get back to the track and follow it when this does not pan out. The problem is he's a young dog, hasn't been doing this for very long, and has not had a lot of problems of this nature right in front of it. So what does it do? How does it solve this problem? It actually doesn't. It can't fix this situation at its current state of training. It needs more exposure to these types of conditions. And ultimately what the dog defaults to is chasing what we call blown odor. The odor now is coming back down the ditch line from right to left over the top of the dog's head, and the dog is just following it. Now, you can see the dog's not tracking. Look at this head behavior right here, mostly up. Every now and then it goes down, but for the most part, this dog's head's up. What he's trying to do is get to that fresh odor as best he can, and at this point here at the end of the trail, it begins to peter out and stop, and that's the end of the track. So from a handling perspective, what should the handler do? Honestly, I think the handler just needs to go with the flow and do the best they can, but not help the dog if they know where that track is. We really need the dog to self-discover the solution to the problem, that being the track itself or somehow finding the scent cone in. But sometimes it can be very, very difficult for a young dog to do this, and the solution oftentimes is to chase blown odor. The biggest issue is that the dog is connected to the handler at the moment it's trying to circulate in and around the scent pool, trying to find the solution. And a lot of times lead checks and line checks at different places during that circulation can cause the dog to come off the problem that it was working, and it could have been very near a solution. So what can we do as a handler? Well, if it's safe to do so, unbuckle that lead or just drop it and let the dog work freely. They only need to find the solution. If they can do that by themselves, it's going to be a lot better than you trying to stop the dog and point them in the right direction. Self-discovery is the key. The dog's solving this on their own. If they can't do it the first time, try it again at another time. But do it over and over and over again until they solve this problem without your assistance.